Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this series 3 of the Online Therapy Podcast and episode number 2 with Maria Christina today. She's back again, and we're going to ask her some more questions, and I hope this will be an interesting and enlivening conversation. We've got all sorts of things planned, and I want to just throw it over to you. Welcome back, Maria.
Hi, Renee. How are you?
All right, thank back. You. Yes, great to be back.
Yes. No, it's
absolutely, good. Absolutely. Yeah. So I've got a few questions for you first. I guess, how did you find coming into my podcast last time?
It was very interesting, my first time. So, I was very picky about everything, but, it was good. I had some feedback from some friends, and they were quite happy with it and quite impressed with it. So that was a good thing to hear that. Yeah.
Excellent. And how have you been since we saw you or spoke to you last?
Oh, pretty busy, actually, believe it or not. Running here, running there, and, taking care of other people besides my intermediate family too. So there was a bit of a party in between. So that was good.
Nice. All right, so let's get into it. So we've got a few things I wanted to talk about today, and quite a few questions. Okay. I'm an avid follower of yours on Instagram, and this is how this kind of started up. And also that we happen to go a few years back. We've met each other and know each other's work for a while. So that's also declaring this to the listeners. So if any of your listeners are wanting to start your own podcast, make sure you keep in touch with your colleagues out there. That's how these kind of things can start. So I guess I wanted to just share with you that I saw an Instagram post the other day, and one that Maria put up on her Instagram profile, and I wanted to read it out to the listeners. And it goes like this: psychology says, if you don't control your emotions, it will be manipulated against you. You've got to train your mind to be stronger than your feelings, or else you'll lose every single time. And I thought this was a really kind of good counterpoint to have a discussion around for our podcast today, because certainly me being a counsellor psychotherapist, I'm all the way into psychology and human behaviour and human emotions and connecting to people's subconscious and all those kinds of things, because that's the work I do with my clients. But I certainly liked this meme or kind of quote here, because I thought it really touched on where the psychic and the psychological may meet, and also an important counterpoint and discussion point for our conversation today. So I just wanted to put this over to you, Maria. What are your thoughts about that particular quote? So again, I'll say it to the listeners, if you don't control your emotions, it will be manipulated against you. You've got to train your mind to be stronger than your feelings, or else you'll lose every single time. So just over to you, Maria, what your thoughts are immediately.
When I came across that meme, I just laughed at it because I could totally relate to it. When I was a little girl, I used to cry when we had to go somewhere, because I'd say, I don't want to go. We'd get there, I'd have fun, it was time to leave, and I'd cry again because I didn't want to go. So a lot of my upbringing was about emotions, okay? I'm a crybaby from way back, and I'm proud of it because that's who I am. But I had to learn, it was in my mid-20s, I started to learn that I need to do something about my emotions, because if someone upset me, I'd be a fireball full of words, spurting out, and it did me no good because I was presenting myself as something else that I wasn't. So I realized in my mid-20s I had to work on it. It wasn't easy because it's a personality trait that it's who you are. So I'm still working through that. I'm getting better. So now I just well, I suppose I cut things off. I don't sort of confront it. I walk away. I don't say anything. And it's not because I'm not standing up for myself. It's just, well, there's some people you just cannot have a conversation with because they don't want to listen. And so with my own emotions, you know, I'm working through it, and I think we all are. It's not just me. We all have it. We're born with it. You know, what does a baby do the minute it comes out? It cries. Yeah. That's an emotion. Yes. But you know, we're being told we can't. We have to work with our emotions. But it's funny because it's only been in the last 10 months I've actually thought about this, that one of the reasons why some people don't work with their emotions because they don't have social skills.
Yeah, true.
And I'll be the first to put my hand up that I struggle with social skills. Yeah. And it's not because I feel I wasn't taught, but that doesn't mean my parents didn't teach me. I feel in my case it was my upbringing of what my life story is about. And I find, you know, a lot of people, you know, when they do book a reading with me, it's usually about their emotions because they can't handle either rejection from their partner or they feel their whole world is falling apart. You know, so it's about believing in yourself of who you are. You know, accepting your emotions and saying, well, there's nothing wrong with me. This is who I am. But you do need to learn the tricks, if you want to say, or learn how to unmanipulate your thinking, your emotions, so you can handle it better. Yeah. So, sure. Yeah, sure. But yeah, I was tickled pink with that, Min. It tickled my fancy.
Yeah, well, it certainly did with me too, because I saw it and I thought, that's actually perfect even for what's going on in the world right now too. Yes. And it might even be an interesting kind of, I guess, what they would call in media segue into another potential conversation about what's been going on in the world over the last kind of, 18 to 20 months in particular. But in particular around manipulation. And so certainly in the psychological field, if counsellors have been trained around how humans can be manipulated, there's certainly things that can happen as a result of big swathes of people believing certain things or not believing certain things. And, it's happened in the past where, a really good example is something called blue eyes, brown eyes. I don't know if you've ever come across that one, but a lady by the name of Jane Elliott started up Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes to kind of try and tackle racism. Yep. She actually gave really good examples that racism is easily constructed and delivered depending on how groups of humans are actually managed and controlled. So this is where things get really interesting at the moment in the world, is what is right, what is real, what is control, what is manipulation, what is truth. There's a lot of people asking these kind of questions. And then what is your truth versus what is the universal truth versus what is, human collective truth? And then how do we sit with all of these complicated things at the moment when nobody's wanting to really have conversations about these things? And I think this is the fascinating thing that often counsellors and psychics are currently dealing with. And I know I'm dealing with this all day, every day in my practice around what people like. They want to discover who they really are now. Yep. And yet nobody is accepting them as they are. And that's a really interesting place to be, because you talked about before with, I guess, social and socialization and being like healthy socially, whether it's you might have social anxiety or agoraphobia in some people's cases. But then there's the flip side is what does it mean to have healthy social relationships, and how do we do that amongst the pandemic when that has been stopped? So this is where things get really interesting, and where humans, I guess, have been known to need connection. We're actually hot-wired for connection. People like Brené Brown talk about that. So there's so many complicating factors at the moment that are kind of stopping us from being able to live our truth with or without being manipulated. So just that meme right there can open up so much thought, but then how can we see eye to eye around some of these bigger, larger issues right now, when there's a lot of things being shut down? There's cancel culture, there's all sorts of things going on all the way around the internet and also in media. It's pretty huge. I'm wondering what your thoughts are. I know this is kind of quite big, but
I think, I think we forget that we have to listen to our own hearts and make our own decisions and own choices. And a lot of our choices have been taken away from us. But I feel it's because people are allowed to bully with the way they speak. And social media is a very good silent bully. I've come across it myself, and I flick it because I don't want to listen to it.
Yep.
And it's not because I'm ignoring it. I've got a choice. And this silent method can, if the person's not balanced or they're looking for that missing link within themselves, they'll be guided on the wrong path. Because usually people that are like that, they're very strong-minded, they're very good with their words, and they will, and personality has a lot to do with it, because they will draw you in, and I've been drawn in by some people, and now when I look at them and I think, oh, silly me. And I think, let them be, let them do their own thing. It's my choice to walk away and not be part of it. But, it's that soul searching of wanting to belong, to have a meaning of life, and these days it doesn't come, or that peacefulness or that sole purpose in life doesn't come to us as easy as what it should do.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people get pulled in that direction, but yet they're never following their own heart.
Yes. Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that goes into some of what I work with people on as well, but probably I use a bit more, I guess, the technical terms of psychology and what have you, but it's very similar to how I would work with someone. And if they came to see me, most of my clients are now wanting more meaning in their life, and where the meaning is just missing. And so they've literally lost their meaning, their purpose, their everything. And so then even soul purpose is not there either. And how do we get the soul purpose back if there's no basic meaning in their life, and if their life feels like it's been completely stripped away from them?
That's really hard, Renee, because it's either they come to someone like you, professional help, or they do go to psychics and mediums. Okay. We can give them the best advice, the best guidance. Okay, but the bottom line is it starts with them. Okay. And we can put the pointers out, we can give them exercises, we can give them some sort of guidance in hope. But if they're not willing to be open to it, and some people get stuck, they don't know, they're being manipulated so much, they have no idea how to get out of that box.
Exactly.
And it's not easy, and if they get really stuck in that box, then that's when they have all the issues that come on top. And then, once you're in that box, it's really hard to get out, but it can be done. I believe it can be done. And it's just, you know, society, we've gone too fancy. That's how I word it. We've gone too fancy. We want too much. It should be easy, and we expect it to be easy without putting the work in it. And, you know, it's just, it's like we've flipped a little bit, and we need to flip back, if that makes sense.
Oh no, totally. I'm hearing you when you say it's gone too fancy or gone too much or what have you. And that it's flipped. And the interesting thing is that, going back to that quote, that meme, where it's like, you know, it really is about how do we manage our emotions? Because then if we're managing our emotions, this is the interesting and fascinating thing, probably if people are listening back to this, what they'll hear is the main thing for any kind of management of emotion is actually to be rock solid in yourself. And part of that can come from meditation, from your own therapy, from coaching, from seeing a psychic, from just knowing who you are and who you are in your soul and what your soul purpose is. And I like that you brought that up before too, because these are the very things that we need to be thinking about probably right now across society. And yet it seems to be the thing that's pretty much missing. And so when you say about we've got too fancy, like we want all these different things, like this, that, and the other, if we're so fancy, then, and we want so much, yet it doesn't align with our soul purpose. How do you see that ends up getting resolved in people's lives?
Life experience. I mean, obviously, the way I would say it, if they don't learn or they don't adapt to their soul purpose, and let's face it, Renee, it could take years to find our soul purpose. I mean, I was 50 when I found my footing in doing psychic work and mediumship work. And it can, you know, it's nothing, it should come instantly, or it should be there naturally, but for some reason it doesn't anymore, you know. But you know, that's because of our life expectation. I mean, go back in the 50s and 60s, you went to school, you went to college, and then you met someone, got married and had children, and that was it. That was it. So there's no expectations in that.
But on the treadmill.
So now, you know, people want more, and it's not just men, it's females. Females want more now. You know, they want to feel comfortable in their own skin. But, you know, if they don't have that droplet of God, their own God within themselves, they'll struggle. They will struggle. And, you know, and it's got nothing to do with religion.
No.
Nothing, you know, you've got to have your faith about yourself. You've got to have the confidence about yourself. And you've got to, you know, as I said, the technique, when things don't go your way, you have to have the confidence on how to, I suppose, manipulate it yourself to be happy with the result and work out another way. You know, it's funny, one of the cards that I have is a mountain. And when it shows up, you know, I instantly think that's a block wall, can't move the mountain, right? But you can walk around the mountain, just takes a little bit longer to get there. And that's what we have to do. It's, you know, if we can't get there, or we, you know, feel our emotions are blocking what we want, we need to find another way of how to get there. But, you know, we don't want to put the work in.
Well, aren't humans our own worst enemy? We are all our own worst enemy, because
definitely.
There's certainly elements within me and everyone where we self-sabotage and we do ourselves a disservice completely. Like, you know, just where we will often do the very thing that we really shouldn't do.
And then you'll think, oh, no.
That's it. And so we, you know, we do the very thing that we think we shouldn't do, and then it happens anyway. And then there's consequences afterwards. What I'm astounded at the moment in the world, there seems to be a lack of understanding of human imperfection. Because when it's right or wrong, we must do this or that, black and white, there's no room for grey or colour.
no. Yeah. But I you know, someone once, I said something to someone one time, I failed, and you know, this person was quite experienced. They said, oh my goodness, you failed. And then I thought, yeah, you know, and then he says, but you didn't fail. You just needed to learn a different way of succeeding.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, failed, because we're taught that in school, aren't we? Yep. I failed, you know, I didn't get that right. Yep. So, you know, that's, you know, we're all getting taught this from, you know, social behavior. So even now when I, you know, say to my clients, you know, if they beat themselves up, I said, it's just a lesson. You just need to work through that. You haven't failed. It's not the end. It's just a lesson. Yeah. And they go, really? And some people don't think that way, and they're actually quite shocked and surprised by it. Yep. We never fail, you know. No. Failure is a society word. What you know, it's the illusion we want to give to ourselves. And we're pretty good at doing that, because when we give it to ourselves, we're showing the whole world we failed, but we haven't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Whew, so I don't disagree at all. And the interesting thing, one of my lecturers in many years ago, when I originally trained in therapy, talked about mistakes. And when we talk about a mistake, if we actually break up the word, it's a mistake. You've actually had a mistake, not a mistake, a mistake. So it just means you might have taken the wrong route for once, and then you can take another route. Yeah, that it doesn't have to be a linear route that we take in life. It doesn't have to be the route everybody else takes. You can take your own route, and that's kind of part of what the therapy journey, and I'm sure in psychic sessions it would be kind of similar discussion around it, you know, your life is your own, therefore your journey is your own, and you need to take your own journey.
Yeah, and that's it. We've got to stop looking what other people are doing, you know, not follow their path, their ways. You know, you can take what you like and you can use it to your own advantage. But, you know, this is your soul journey. This is your journey, and no one can take it for you. And, you know, the lessons or the mistake that comes along, that's for you to grow. It's not to pull you apart and make you feel like you're worthless. It's about you saying, hey, now I could have done that better. All right, next time I know. And you'll find when next time does come, you will do it better, or you will, you know, whatever, you know, I'm not quite sure of the word I should be using, because I don't want to use the word better, succeed.
Yeah, and in therapy and coaching, we call that growth. So the main thing that we're looking for in therapy is growth of the individual. So that if you feel like you've made a mistake, or you feel like you've failed, and if you feel like that's literally the end of the line, it's actually just maybe the end of the line through one route. If you consider it's like a train track, where sometimes you need to take another route. And it's also about what is the story you're telling yourself about the route you were just on. Perhaps that route has now finished, and the other route that needs to be taken might be somewhere else completely differently.
Just with that word mistake, Renee, I instantly went to the tarot card in the devil. And, you know, everyone, you know, gets a little bit, you know, on edge when they see the devil card. But the devil card's about, you know, codependencies. It's about your addictions. And, you know, we've all got them, you know. But if you put that word devil and spell it backwards, it's lived. So you're actually living your life. You're just making different choices to what you should be doing, and they're your lessons. That's your journey. So, you know, and I believe everything and anything is possible if you struggle with, finding your soul purpose, if you continue to work on that and value yourself, you will succeed.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. Hey, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm a living example.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't into sex or drugs or rock and roll. Rock and roll, yes. But, I had my own struggles. I had my own things to work through, and I did them on my own. And maybe there was sometimes there I should have seen a counsellor. I will admit that. So I guess I learnt the hard way. But you know what? When you learn the hard way, you learn it 100%.
Oh yeah, and I would agree 100% with all of that. I mean, certainly no therapist like myself, particularly in the psychotherapy realm of things, hasn't been through some things. Almost all psychotherapists you'll find out there have been through something, because it usually is what has helped them find therapy. Because a psychotherapist, a technical clinical psychotherapist, and that's separate to clinical psychology, just by the way, for everyone listening. But if you're a clinical psychotherapist like myself, we actually have to have done our own therapy. We have to do years. And in my association, I have to do a minimum of 5 years of my own therapy, as well as, higher ed, like, university qualifications in psychotherapy or counselling, or both. And I've done both. And so then you do that training plus the ongoing therapy. It means you've usually had to have experienced a whole lot of things, plus look within yourself and your soul to be able to then hold the space properly and appropriately for the clients. And that's the serious endeavor of therapy if you're working with a psychotherapist. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is just because what you're saying there is effectively, lived experience is super important. And absolutely, and I think what the listeners it's important that they hear this, is that usually psychotherapists have often the most lived experience of all therapeutic modalities in the mental health space, because they have to have gone through their own therapy. And usually it's therapy that finds them first, and then training later.
And that's funny, because, I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm thinking, oh, that's what I had to do. I had to find myself, my soul purpose. I had to work through my issues that I was, given, and not always from my own choice, from my family's background. And, so, but I don't have the certificates, but I've had plenty of life experience, and I've attended heaps of workshops, and as a reader, we do get people from all walks of life.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's amazing, actually. And they're just like you and I.
Absolutely.
They just don't know how to work with that particular situation at that time. It's very interesting.
Great. So we've had quite an in-depth conversation today about all things soul purpose and psychology. I'm wondering if you wanted to add anything else today, or if you had any, anything to share with the listeners, or just remind them where they can find you. So just if you can add a few things there.
Just a reminder, the energies at the moment are a little bit wild, because we're actually working towards Christmas. And I do feel Christmas is going to be a little bit different from the Christmases of the past, because, we look at the last 18 months, it's been life-changing for everyone. And so you may find that the energies are going to be running a little bit wild, but it's not, you can handle it. That's all I want to say. You can handle the changes or the emotions that you go through, okay? Because Christmas is just one day, 24 hours, and before you blink, it's gone. So just be mindful of the energy that you pick up, the energies that you carry, your pattern thoughts, because they're not going to be there forever. Christmas, I just need to say that. Because I just feel we're building up towards Christmas, and things are going to start going wild. Okay. I'm, my website is www.mariachristina.com.au. I do have a phone number, 0411017766. You need to leave a message because I don't chase you, okay? And yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And just a reminder to everyone, people can find my training or me on 2 different websites. My training is aott.com.au, and my website for professional services is reneemcdonald.com. That's reneemcdonald.com. Thank you, Maria, again, and we're going to see you again probably in another fortnight, but we'll just be organising that after this. And yeah, thanks again, everyone, for listening. And this has been a great conversation. To be continued, I think. So go well, everyone, and hang in there. It's pretty rough out there for a lot of people. So please reach out if you need help or support to either Maria, myself, or anyone that you need.
Lots of love.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.